Good evening, one and all. Welcome to the Mental Health Webinar Series 2020 and 2021. Today we are in 489 session. Another 10 more session to reach 500. It's our pleasure to announce here. From tomorrow onwards, countdown will start actually to reach the 500 session. So today we are going to see the senior most person, Mr. Muthiah Ramana sir. He is acting as a resource person today. He is going to talk about introduction to psychology. You all knows very well, he's having the almost 30 plus years in this field. And I would like to give some intro about Muthiah sir. He's a corporate trainer and counselor. He served as the president for the Hypnotic Club Chennai for almost 14 years. He is certified trainer in NLP from the National Federation of NLP, Florida, American Board of NLP. And he presented thousands of training programs, trained well over 1 lakh people on self-development all over India in 30 plus years. More than hundreds of his videos on self-development are available in his YouTube channel that's called Mind Dynamics Tamil. His courses on transactional analysis and hypnosis in Tamil as well as English are available in international education platform called udemy.com. He written 2 books. One is Power of Subconscious Mind. Another one is Hypnosis. And another one is How to Score More Than 90% in Exams. He reviewed 2 books on self-development every week on Wednesdays as well as Fridays in the book review WhatsApp group called Red Forte in English. He presents a series of lecture titled Simplified Psychology 101 on all Thursdays in the every week. In this WhatsApp group called Mind Your Mind in Tamil. He specializes in hypnosis, transactional analysis, neuro-linguistics program, and psychology. Today he is going to talk about complete thing about psychology in all the dimensions. I would like to invite on behalf of American College Madurai, MS Chellamuthi Institute Madurai, Madras School of Social Work Chennai, Red Pond Educational Psychology Research Center Madurai, Yella Pond Counseling Center, and other institutions. Sir, we would like to welcome you and over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Dr. Salim. Thanks, Madam Sunanda, and welcome to all the participants here. And Joveli in Tamil Nadu, we say, we have a proverb which says, Tirunelveliki alva vikka vandiya அப்படின்னு கேட்பாங்க. Meaning Tirunelveli is the place for selling halwa. And coming from Chennai, if we go to Tirunelveli and start selling halwa, what will happen? Same way, all of you are psychologists and psychology professors and psychology students. And I am coming here to teach you or to tell you what is hypnosis or introduction to hypnosis. Let me see what is going to happen to me at the end of the program, right? Good. So by and large, psychology is defined as the internal mental processes and human behavior. Or to put it in a different way, in the language of Dr. Sigmund Freud, the components of personality, our thoughts, our feelings and actions, all 3 put together. This is who we are, this is who I am, this is we are, all of us are. So thoughts, feelings and actions put together, that comprises the whole personality of the whole human being. Tamil all mind சொல்லுவோம். அந்த மாதிரி personality அப்படின்னா 3 தான். Thought and feeling inside our head, performance is outside. By and large, management is oriented with performance, action outside in the office or in getting things done. But then we are in the earlier realm called thoughts and feelings. If the thoughts and feelings are here, they are wonderful. Automatically, performance will come by. We don't have to worry anything about management at all. We don't have to study management even, provided we know thoughts and feelings and we set right the thoughts and feelings. That's enough. And that's my point of view. Right? Coming back. By and large, any topic, when we start an introduction, normally there are few questions like why, how, what, which, who, where, and all those things. And we will take psychology into account and apply all these questions and find out how does psychology go about. Why some people are cheating? Why some people are corrupt? Why bad things happen to good people? Why am I sad sometimes? Why do I cry? And why did she break up with me or he break up with me? And then how can I pass this examination? How can I make my children listen to me? How can I make my subordinates work the way I want them to work? How can I control my mind? What is intelligent? What are emotions? What is a mental illness? Or what is a mental retardation? Whatever. And who is a good friend? Who is trustworthy? Who can I get married to? And then, which college or university can I go to? Which subject is the best subject for me? Which is the best course that I can study in my life? What can make me happy? Where I can live happily? With whom can I live happily? By doing what I can live happily. So all these things can be answered by one subject, single subject called psychology. Get the point? When you ask too many questions, and for all these questions, psychology has got an answer. But then we do not know that psychology is such a powerful subject. Every organization in the world has got a management department. And how come no office has got a psychology department? I still wonder why. If only every office has had a psychology department, along with management department or instead of management department, I think the office will be functioning much better. That is my personal point of view. Right. Coming over, uses of psychology, or why should I study psychology, or why should I know psychology? Coming to self, when you come to self and understanding my own self, my self-concept, my self-esteem, my self-image, my self-confidence, my self-acceptance with all my mistakes and my plus points also, my self-love for myself, all these things are in the realm of psychology. When it comes to family, premarital and marital, couple, sexual, interpersonal relationship, adjustment, child rearing, teenage, parental psychology, teenage psychology are all in the realm of psychology. When you go to office, understanding people around, working in a team, communication, problem solving, relationship, expressing emotions, understanding emotions, taking over leadership or listening to leadership, managing people, managing self, risk taking, perseverance. And when it comes to sales and marketing, advertisements, TV advertisement, social media advertisement, how to write in a WhatsApp group, what to write in a WhatsApp group, how to respond in a WhatsApp group, and marketing, subliminal sales also. That's an altogether different topic. One day I will cover subliminal and subliminal sales. That's a different topic. Organizational culture, all these things, marketing, overall international culture, all these things here. And then we come to society. And when we get along with other people, like World Health Organization defined health earlier as physical and psychological well-being. About 50 years back, I think they changed the definition into physical, psychological, and social well-being. Meaning, how do I get along well with people outside? Meaning, I'm physically healthy, I'm psychologically healthy, I'm doing everything with my computer, and I'm doing working from home here. But then if I am not able to get along with other people, communicate with other people, or relate with other people, work with other people, get something done, then I'm not quite healthy. My health also takes into account my well-being with regard to my social life, social activity also. And in that context, we come across empathy, social well-being, and being a good citizen, being a humane person, human being, and manners, etiquette, culture, international culture nowadays, feminism, assertiveness, social skills, healing skills, biopsychosocial factors, and LGBTQI, lesbians, gays, intersex, and transgenders and queers and HIV affected people and all those things, LGBTQI. How do I understand them? How do I get along well with them? All these things are in the realm of psychology again. It's all in the societal area, social circles. And then when I coming over to myself, when I take myself as a self into account, myself becomes my body and my mind. And when the mind again gets into two different categories called, one is called thought, other one is called feeling. And feeling mixed up with thought becomes an emotion. Normally feeling is something which all animals have, which all living beings have. They love and they are jealous, they fight, they compete, and they are hurt and they are sad. All those things, all these emotions are also felt by all the living beings. But then human beings have got one higher capacity because they use this area called the prefrontal cortex or neocortex, wherein it mediates the thought and the feeling also. Thought is mostly in the left brain and the feeling is mostly in the right brain, and there are people contesting it. For the time being, we will take it that thoughts are in the left and feelings are in the right, right? Feelings added to thoughts, they become emotion. Only human beings have emotions, and all the animals, living beings have got feelings only, right? Coming over, biological psychology focuses more attention in this area called body-mind combination or duality or working together, wherein there is a brain and a nervous system and neurology, neurosociology. How do I use my nervous system in connection with other people? Neuroplasticity, meaning it is flexible, it is able to understand, rearrange, modify, change all those things, whatever I've already input here, based on the novel experiences and the newer experiences and everyday experiences in the college, in the office, or the society. I keep changing myself here. That's called neuroplasticity. My ability to keep it plastic-like. Plastic is flexibility. The brain is flexible and is able to get new information at any point of time. It doesn't matter whether you're 70, 80, 90, you have a flexible brain and it can learn anything new also at any point of time also. And then coming to hormones. Here we have a couple of hormones called pituitary and pineal gland and amygdala, and then the adrenaline, thyroid here, and then gonads, testosterone and estrogen here, and adrenals have got two secretions, one called cortisol, the other one called adrenaline, and both of them impact our how do we encounter a new situation or a strange situation or a risky, dangerous situation, and all these things get triggered. They are called endocrine glands or hormones, which secrete certain chemicals with which we are able to face the new kind of situation on hand. And then we have five senses. How do we use the five senses? And we have a motor system called two hands and two legs. How do we use the motor system, or how do we use it effectively, called skills, motor skills? And all these things come to play a role. Added to that, I think yesterday Dr. Vidya was speaking about dose, dopamine and oxytocin and neurotransmitters and serotonins. So these are called happy hormones or energizing hormones. By taking some chemicals, we can create these hormones or trigger these hormones. By doing some exercises, by being active, by being with loving people, by doing something which we enjoy, we can automatically trigger dose. When dose is there, automatically we become happy. When we are happy, dose gets triggered. Both are impacting one another. So all these things are in the body-mind connection area. And then coming to mind, as I told you about, on the one hand we have thoughts, on the other hand we have feelings. And coming to thoughts, it's cognition. Cognition is your ability to perceive a given situation. Where are you? What needs to be done? What is missing? What can be done? How to solve the problem or how to achieve the goal? What could be the impasse or what could be the block there? How do I surmount or overpower the mental block or the other blocks coming in my way? And how do I get things done? My linguistic ability, language, communication, memory, problem solving, data collection, data manipulation, data processing, and decision making, and positive thinking, negative thinking, rubber banding, going back to my earlier experiences and collecting data. If it is useful, I'll use it here. If it is not useful, also sometimes I tend to use the old data, which is useless data, which is negative data, but still I continue to use it. I don't have much control over there. We will go into all these aspects. And then coming to feelings and emotions, the number one emotion, the baby is glad long as the baby is in mommy's tummy. And the moment it is sent out, it goes through a pain. It has got to come through a narrow passage and it is pushed out. And the umbilical cord is cut, and doctors on the mummy, they ask the baby to breathe by itself. Baby suffers initial pain. So when the baby comes into the world, the baby is in pain, and the baby cries, and the baby is feeling bad, or baby is feeling negative or sad about it. And the baby is scared about the entire environment also. And then when mommy picks up and mommy gives milk, that's the time the baby somehow gets a little bit taken over, and then the baby says, okay, there is somebody who cares, and the baby becomes glad. And when mummy is not there, again the baby becomes scared. And it keeps on crying. If mummy comes, it's okay. Mummy doesn't come, the baby gets angry, mad. And even after crying, mummy doesn't come at all, the baby becomes sad. So glad is to start with, and then it becomes scared, and then it becomes mad, and then it becomes sad. So these are the four basic emotions. And added to that, we have loving, caring. Love is another emotion. Being calm is another one. pride is another one, disgust is another, surprise, excitement is another, shame, embarrassment is another. So all these gamuts are there, and the idea is one shall be able to go through all these emotions and be in balance. Not that I want to be happy always, I'll be happy 100% of the time. I will have nothing to do with problems. I will not be afraid of anything. Doesn't work. The life keeps on offering something or other as a means of stimulus or stimuli. All these things are coming over to you and you need to respond. Sometimes you'll be disgusted, sometimes you will have lust, sometimes you will have love, sometimes you care, sometimes you are calm, sometimes you are confident, sometimes you are afraid, sometimes you take over responsibility, sometimes you are really glad, happy, joy, pleasurable, and all these things are, they need to go through. You need to go through all the emotions one after the other. You don't need to go after them. When they come to you, respond appropriately. How to respond appropriately with our emotions, our emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. That's also another topic going on in psychology all over the world, right? So psychology looks into all these areas: self, family, and office, society, body, brain, and neurology, mind, thought, feeling. All these things are in the constituents or component parts or subject matters or syllabi of our psychology. And to give you a little more expansions, branches of psychology. What are the branches of psychology? Number one, individual psychology, or it's called general psychology. General psychology, I'll give you contents of the general psychology a little later. Now, for the time being, the branches of psychology. Number one is general psychology. Whenever we normally a human being says psychology, he means only general psychology. And then we come to developmental psychology. Developmental psychology meaning the moment you and I are born, the moment a baby gets conceived. And that's a development point. The father's sperm comes over, mummy's ovum comes over, and then they fuse together and they create a product called zygote, Z-Y-G-O-T-E, zygote. Zygote is the combined fruit of the ovum and the spermatozoa. And then the moment the sperm or the zygote is able to double itself, the zygote is there, sperm came over, ovum was there, and then they got fused and they become a zygote. When the zygote became doubled, when it replicated itself, when it created another zygote, that was the time you and I were born. That's the starting point of love, starting point of our lives. But it so happens what we call as date of birth is not date of birth, it's called date of delivery only. Mummy was keeping you inside the tummy and mummy sent you out outside of the tummy. That's the only difference. Doesn't matter whether the pen is in my pocket or whether the pen is outside. The pen is already there in existence. You were in existence much earlier. The moment the zygote doubled, you were born, I was born. But then nobody knows the time of the birth of you and me. So internationally, what we call as a date of birth is actually not date of birth at all. It is called a date of delivery. And there's also lots of surgeries are being done internationally. Twin child. There are two children inside, twin children, and they are there. They could be identical, they could be fraternal. But then when two children are there, it so happens mummy's blood vessel goes nearly 70-80% to one baby, only 20 to 30% to the other baby. And with our echocardiogram and all, we find out that this is the way the babies are. And the baby receiving 20-30% blood will die because inadequacy. The other baby, which is receiving instead of 50% blood, it is receiving 70-80% of the blood. This baby will also crack because the heart will not be able to tolerate it. The heart is hardly like the size of a grape. So when the doctors find out this is the way it is, they do a surgery on mummy, operating on mummy's tummy, cutting open the uterus, cutting the chest of the baby, and cutting open the heart of both the children and both the kids. The doctor is able to rearrange the blood vessels in such a way the blood will flow 50% to this baby, another 50% to this baby, and then they will be born effectively as good living beings. And there are a lot of cases, lots of examples available. If you go through the net, you will be able to understand. I am saying, if you say this is the date of birth, the date of my delivery, and who was the operation done on? If the operation was not done, both the children would have died inside the tummy itself. Are you with me? So science is working on it, and we are working on it. We are making mommy feel comfortable that don't worry, we will see that both the babies will be comfortable. You can be comfortable, you can be rest assured. I will rearrange the blood vessels, the baby will be happy. So there is a doctor element, there is a psychological element also. So without psychology, there is a doctor cannot exist. All the doctors are, Joe Villiers say, you don't have a family engineer, family chartered accountant, or family company secretary, family lawyer, but you always have a family doctor because the doctor uses family jargons. Doctor is included into the family, and doctor has got emotional connectivity with you, right? So a doctor is a family doctor, and the family pays attention to your emotions, right? And I'm coming over the other branches of psychology. Developmental psychology starts there, and then the baby is born, neonatal baby, and then the child, and then the baby becomes pre-puberty and adolescence, and then it becomes a teenager, and then it becomes a young adult youth, and then the adult, and then the middle age, and then the geriatrics. So all these things are in the developmental psychology, process one by one. At what age, what will be your skill? At what age, what are being expected out of you from people around, or you yourself expect out of you, like, right? So it's all in the developmental psychology. And social psychology is my ability to get along well with other people in the world. And it could be my family also, beyond my family. It could be in the office also, beyond my office. It could be in the society also. So I go to the marketplace, I go to the movie, I go to beach, I go to park, I go to other countries, I visit people, I have lots of friends and all those things. I go to social circles, JCs or Lions or Rotary Club. I come to attend meetings like this in psychology groups. All these things call for social psychology. How do I move here? How do I talk here? How do I look here? How do I ask questions here? How do I mute myself here? How do I listen here? All these things, it all comes under social psychology. And then we have counseling psychology and clinical psychology and medical psychiatry also. All these things are sister concerns. Like one area is called counseling, the other one is called clinical, the other one is medical. Medical, wherein a DPM will come in. DPM meaning Diploma in Psychiatric Medicine. These are people who have done already MBBS, medically qualified people, general practitioners. In addition to being a general practitioner, they learn something about medicines and mind also, how the mind operates, how the surgery in the brain can be done, and how some medicals and chemicals can change the mental makeup. It's all in psychiatry. And psychiatry is to do with the surgery and medicine, and only qualified people can do that. Only medical practitioners can do that. We psychologists, we confine ourselves to talking cure. We talk to people, we give them counseling, ஆற்றுப்படுத்துதல் சொல்லுவாங்க தமிழ்ல, ரைட்டா? And then coming to experimental psychology, I'll give you a lot of psychologists and what they are famous for a little later. So a lot of experiments we have done, and based on the experiments, we come to certain conclusions, and based on the conclusions, we teach other people. If only you follow this way, it will be easier for you. This works, this doesn't work. This is questionable, this may work, may not work. How do we know? We have done a lot of experiments. Like chemistry experiment and physics experiment, botany, zoology experiment, and psychology has also a lot of experiments. We have psychological labs also. I will talk about it a little later. And then behavioral psychology, meaning my behavior, my action, my functioning, my interaction, my communication, my relationship are all in the behavioral psychology. Cognitive psychology, cognitive behavior psychology. Again, it is in the left brain, like in the logical thinking, reasoning area, and conscious mind. This is about my cognition, my ability to understand a given situation, linguistics, communications, relationships, decision making, problem solving, achieving goals. All these things, all these are in cognitive therapy or cognitive psychology or cognitive behavioral sciences. And biological psychology is the area, as I told you, about neuroscience and neuroplasticity, the spinal cord, my parietal lobe and the occipital lobe and the temporal lobe and the prefrontal lobe, or the neocortex, and the amygdala and the pituitary and the pineal gland, left lobe, right lobe, all these things. So they are all in the biological psychology. I'll give you one more example a little later. And biological psychology, as I told you about, motor skills are all there, endocrine glands are all there, stress management is also there, what gets triggered during times of stress, and all these things are in the biological psychology. And then child development. How do we bring up a child? By and large, I tell you, no mummy is qualified, no daddy is qualified. We are normal mummies and normal daddies, and we commit a lot of mistakes as mummies and daddies. And the only option available to us to be a good daddy or mummy is only when you get promoted as grandfather or grandmother. So you will commit all mistakes as father and mother, and you will correct all your mistakes as father and mother when you become grandfather, grandmother. Right? And then we come to teenage psychology. Teenage psychology is something which doesn't come under any psychology. Internationally, you cannot fit them anywhere. They have a different perception of their own. They have a different sensation of their own. They have different communication, different relationships, and they are not afraid of death also. They are not afraid of anybody also. They are not afraid of legal consequences also. Until such time they were 15, you told them, if you do that, I will give you this. And if you do that, I'll beat you up. And they were afraid of being beaten up, or they were happy about getting something. Now that they're 18, 20, they will say, to hell with what you give. I don't want it. I will buy it myself. I will take it myself. And if you say I'll beat you up, go ahead and beat me up, and I'm not concerned. And you can't beat me also. I'll hit you back like. So teenage psychology is a unique psychology which doesn't come under any normal psychology. We can even place teenage psychology under abnormal psychology in my point of view. Right? Coming over parental psychology. Again, parents do not know how to bring up children, and they need to learn, and there are a lot of material courses available. And one day I will do teenage psychology also, one day I do parental psychology also here. Right? And then before getting married, premarital counseling and marital counseling, that's also another branch of psychology. And then when they become a couple, how do they understand each other? I spoke about Barbara De Angelis, secrets about men, women need to know, in another group. And also men are from Mars and women are from Venus in one another group by John Gray. This is Barbara De Angelis and this is John Gray. And the beauty is Barbara De Angelis married 5 times and she knows everything about men. And one of the husband was John Gray, and John Gray learned everything about men are from Mars and women are from Mars, only from Venus, only from Barbara De Angelis. And the pity was Barbara De Angelis also wrote 10 books. They were not quite successful, but this man had a beautiful phrase: men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Everything was taken away only from Barbara De Angelis, living with her and divorcing her, and he married another, and then he wrote the book. So these couple are the excellent people to talk about couple therapy, because they have undergone all the problems, seen everything. Living with 5 husbands, she knows everything. Living with two wives, and this lady also, John Gray, knows everything. Right? I'm not joking. It's all serious, real. Right? Not my story. So sexual relationship is also there. That's another important aspect. Joe Bailey, we used to say, even if you got 100 out of 100 and a gold medal in the paper called Sexuality or Sexual Psychology or Sexology, you are not qualified to give anybody any advice, any treatment, any counseling on sexology, because you do not have any. Even though you got a gold medal in sexology in the paper, you specialize in the paper called sexology and you got a gold medal, that doesn't qualify you to give any counseling with regard to sexuality when couple come to you. Your knowledge is bookish. Unless you are married, unless you have had sexual experiences, never counsel anybody on sexual relationships. So that's a no. Theoretical information is different, practical information is different. And coming over family, how do we run as a family? And husband and wife and son and daughter or mother and father, how do these 4 people get along well with each other is a family psychology. And then personality psychology. How do I move in front of people? How am I in an audience? How am I in the stadium? How am I as a public speaker? How am I as a manager? How am I as a team leader? So all these things, it all depends on your personality, how you reveal yourself, how you conduct yourself, how you motivate yourself, how you relate with other people. All these things come under personality psychology, your thought, feeling, and actions all together. And then health psychology. How can I be healthy? My body impacts the mind, my mind impacts the body, and both of them have got an impact on one another. In NLP, we say mind and body belong to the same system. So manipulating one, changing one, we can always change the other. So again, with regard to health, nutrition is also there. And then we come to rehabilitation. Anytime people have a problem, or maybe an addiction problem or a drug problem or a gambling problem or whatever problem, or an accident and serious sickness, they were in bed for a long time and they had some psychological disturbances, serious issues like psychotic or schizophrenia or split personality or dissociative identity disorder, multiple personality disorder, whatever, some serious issue, not in touch with reality. That's the point. Doesn't matter what terminology you use, they are not in touch with reality around them. So in that context, we need to bring them back, rehabilitate from the sickness, from the accident, from the divorce, from the love failure or breakup, relationship breakup, from the loss, all these things. We need to bring them back to normalcy. That's called rehabilitation psychology. Another area is sports psychology. Yesterday and today, I came across at least 10 of our sports people in Olympics. All of them have lost. It is no wonder at all, because we don't even have 1 hour per week to give them sports. And with that context, how can you expect any Olympic medal? It's nonsensical. Not giving anything to the cow and expecting the cow to give you 10 liters milk every day. Doesn't work. You don't teach anything in sports at all in the school, and you want our people to go to Olympics and then bring you gold medal, which is purely nonsensical, irrational, and idiotic, stupid. We need to spend more energy in sports, a lot more money in sports. We need to have more sports teachers, and we need to encourage sports like USA or Japan or China. It's it's not okay being jealous of China. The input China gives, not even 1% of the money China spends on sports, we spend here. So sports psychology is another area wherein the killer instinct, killer meaning I am not killing the opponent, I am killing his performance. I am overpowering his performance. I may be too low, but then I bounce back. How soon I come back? How soon I retrieve myself here? How confident I am in winning. So normally we say in tennis, the first seed and the 20th seed in tennis, they have the same kind of physical energy, same kind of style. Only one thing is different. And what is? It is their mental ability, lasting power, endurance, grit, saying, I am going to win. The killer instinct is what makes this seed number one as number one. And the lack of killer instinct is what makes a 20th seed as a 20th seed. Performance is the same. It is to do with the psyche. And that area, our psychology plays a very vital role. And then industrial psychology, how do we move with people who are in lesser academically qualified people, or assistants or secretaries or PAs or factory workers or peons or substaffs, and the கடைநிலை ஊழியர்கள் சொல்லும் இல்லையா, the last rung in an hierarchy or in an organization. They have a different kind of a mental makeup. They don't have much money, they don't have much qualification, but then they are working with us. We must be able to talk to them appropriately, not expecting them to talk to us properly. They do not know, they are not brought up well, they are not qualified well, they don't know much. It is for us to communicate with them effectively in such a way they feel they belong here and they care, and then they come along with us. So industrial psychology is different. Organizational psychology is again different. Organizational psychology meaning any office, not a factory. And when we say industry, it's more to do with factory and factory employees. This is to do with organization. Wherein how do I face competition? Coca-Cola wants to compete with Pepsi. Pepsi wants to compete with Coca-Cola. And Steve Jobs, Apple wants to compete with Microsoft. Microsoft wants to compete with Amazon.in. Amazon.in wants to compete with Flipkart.in. So in that context, organizational psychology. And then we have military psychology also. And in India, I think DRDO, Defense Recruitment Agency, which recruits a large number of psychologists in India. The largest employment opportunity for psychologists is in the realm, is in our area called defense area in India. And then we have forensic psychology. Forensic psychology meaning the legal terms. The law and the psychology come together. And why did a person commit a crime? And why did the victim become a victim? And what do the policemen do? How do we look at a given situation? What is the angle? What is the motive behind it? We also call it as mens rea. MENS, mens, REA, rea. Mens meaning the mental element in the crime. The moment you identify the mental element in the crime, you'll be able to identify the killer much later. Right? This is a starting point. And there are a lot of English serials available called NCIS and CSI, Naval Criminal Investigation Services, NCIS. I think it is going on for the past 15 years. Every year, 20 episodes. We will have about 300 episodes, nearly 300 hours. It's all about psychology. And CSI, Criminal Science Investigation. That's also about psychology. And a lot of psychological investigations are there. Looking at a crime, the psychologist comes over, looks at the crime, the way in which the victim is, the way he gets killed, the way where he was, how the body is, and what is all around in his bedroom or around, and then the psychologist makes a decision. The killer could be, the criminal could be this way. This could be his height, this could be his weight, this could be the genealogy, and this could be his academic qualification. This is the location where he could be living, and this is the reason why he committed this. And this is his strong subject, this is his weak subject. He has had a problem in sexual relationship. He has had a problem with his college professor, and he will give a sketch. It's called profiling. Profiling. Profile is another serial of another English serial wherein you get to know a lot of crimes happening, and the profiler psychologist will come over and he will give a profile of the, looking at the crime scene, he will give a profile of the criminal or the killer, and with this help they will be able to solve the problem. So forensic psychology is a very, very interesting subject. Law and psychology mixed together, coming together. And then we are mixing up everything like a cocktail, one of the subject called Psychosocial Psychology. Bio meaning my body, my mind and thought, and then psycho meaning my psychology, and social, people around. So biopsychosocial, social psychology is all put together, right? So all these things are branches of psychology, and I told you I'll give you a little more detail on general psychology, because whenever we say psychology, we mean only general psychology. Unless we specifically name it some other way, people mean psychology, only general psychology. And the topics are heredity and biology. And heredity is what you inherited from your mummy, daddy, or mummy's mummy, daddy, and daddy's mummy, daddy. Sometimes they say for 5 generations or so. So all these people have given you something, and with this you operate. And then sensation is about 5 senses. And then perception is what do you understand or what do you make out of your 5 senses. So sensation is I am using 5 senses to get connected to the world. Perception is taking all these things into account, what decision do I make, or how do I respond, or how do I react to the given situation is called perception. And consciousness. Consciousness is what I use now here with you in order to understand you, in order to talk to you, and you are decoding whatever I'm saying. It's all in the logical left brain, conscious mind, and reasoning. And the other area is the subconscious mind. And they also call it as unconscious mind. And if you go to Google and type subconscious mind, you will not get much information. I do not know why. But if you type unconscious mind, you got thousands and thousands of things opening up, sites opening up. So unconscious mind is what Google recognizes, even though we say subconscious mind lately now. And dreams and hypnosis are all come under unconscious mind. Depth psychology, DEPTH, depth psychology, psychoanalysis, Dr. Sigmund Freud and Carl Gustav Jung and Alfred Adler, all these people are working in the area called depth psychology, or subconscious mind or unconscious mind. And then the next topic is learning. How do we learn? Experiential learning, model learning, and situational learning, going to college learning, academic learning. How do we learn? Initially, we do not know, and we do not know that we do not know. There is something called a computer we do not know as children. When we were real kids, we did not know the computer was in existence like. And then we came across a situation where we saw a monitor, we saw somebody working there, and then we came to know, I do not know computers. So first stage, I do not know. I don't know computers, how to operate computers. I don't know computers existed also. And in the next stage, I came to know that I know there are computers, but I don't know how to operate computers. I don't know. And the third stage, I said, I want to learn computers. I picked up some teacher or elder brother, elder sister, or mummy, daddy, whoever. And then I learned computers. I learned to operate computers, the keyboard, and access something in the internet. Now I know there are computers. I know how to operate computers also. And then I became an expert. I became an expert in coding. I became an expert in doing whatever I'm doing. In the process of my talking, happily I can type something, I can key in something, I can access something, I can respond something. So now my unconscious took over. Now I do not know how I know, but I know. I do not know how I swim, I swim. I do not know how I drive a two-wheeler or a car, but I drive. I do not know grammar at all. So seriously, I do not know grammar in English, but then I manage to talk. I keep talking. A real English professor, if he were to come over here and then listen to my talk, he will tell me that's an error, this is an error, this should not have said, and all those things. I do not know grammar at all. I do not know what is a noun or an adjective, verb or an adverb or a syntax, but then I keep talking in English. I do not know how I talk. I don't know, I know. I know English, I don't know how. I know driving, I don't know how. I know swimming, I don't know how. I know cycling balancing, I don't know how. I know computer operating, I don't know how. So ultimate power is in your ability. I don't know, but then I know. And that's the ultimate power. Initially, I don't know. Then I came to know, I know, I don't know. Then I worked on it, I know. And then I came to know, I don't know, I know. So this is ultimate power, learning area. And then there is a classical conditioning, Ivan Pavlov keeping a dog hungry for a day and then rings a bell and gives food, rings a bell and gives food, rings a bell and gives food 4 times the next day. And the third day when he rang a bell, the dog started salivating. You look at a food or look at the meat and the dog salivates is understandable because it's an unconditional response. You are born with it, heredity. It was given to you. So you know. Look at the meat and then you salivate. It is unconditional, normal, routine, observable for everyone. But suddenly, Ivan Pavlov, a Russian doctor, brought in a dog and he rang a bell and then gave food. The dog started associating the sound of the bell with the food and it expected food to come. So that's called classical conditioning. And B.F. Skinner started another one school called operant conditioning, wherein punishment and reward. You do something, mommy punishes and you don't do it. And you do something, mommy gives you a sweet and then you do more of it. So punishment and reward works either way. What not to do is by punishment. What more to do is by encouragement or motivation or incentives or food or life. And then we come to memory. How come some people have got some good memory? How come some people forget? If we forget, why we forget? If we remember, why we remember? If we remember, why we remember bad memories also when we don't want? How come I'm not able to recollect good memories which I want? So all these things are in the area called memory. And then cognition, as I told you about linguistics and communication and relationship and decision making and data processing and problem solving and achieving goals are in cognition. And then motivation. How come some people are motivated? What motivates you? What doesn't motivate you? How can you motivate yourself to achieve your goal? How can you motivate yourself to stay healthy? How can you motivate yourself to achieve some goal or take a risk also, risk taking and then ultimately achieving goal? In order to do something serious, something major or thinking big, how come some people motivate themselves, some people are not able to do? And we come to emotions. As I told you a lot about earlier, emotions and feelings. How do I manage my emotions? What is appropriate emotion? What should I express in the given situation? How do I respond to people outside? And why I am not able to balance myself? Emotional intelligence and emotional quotient. Everyone has got emotions. The only idea is where to express, when to express, how to express, how much to express, and what intensity to express. That is where emotional intelligence comes into play. And then personality, as I told you earlier, it's your thought and feelings and your actions all put together. And psychoanalytic psychology, psychoanalysis focuses more attention on personality development, lots of personality development courses there. So, and then come to health and stress and coping strategies and adjustment. Life will keep on giving you problems and you need to adjust at all point of time. Some stimulus or other will come, some demand or other will come. Even if you do nothing and sit here, your body will ache, your body will say change your posture or go lie down, or there will be hunger from your tummy. Pick up water, pick up food, or talk to somebody like. So there is always something, there is always an input coming to you, and then always a demand made upon you. And when a demand is made upon you, are you in a position to cope with the demand on hand? So an emergency reaction is there, a coping methodology is also there. With all that, how do you manage your stress and still continue to remain healthy? So it's called coping strategy, stress management, adjustment, and continuously feeling physically, psychologically healthy also. And then serious psychological disorders and treatments. They all come under psychotherapy. So these are all part of general psychology in bits. They are all one chapter, one chapter, one chapter. Every single one can be one full book. That's a different story. Today here we are taking for into account that general psychology contains these are major chapters. These are the major chapters in any international standard textbook. And I have at least 15 international major standard textbooks here behind me. All of them are university textbooks, which I am able to get from US also, right? And then coming over to give you digress a little bit. If you have paper and pen, you can take down. There's a educational platform called udacity.com, UDACITY, udacity.com, UDACITY. And there are 2 courses on general psychology here. And you can pick up the latest course. I have completed the course. And the beauty of this course on general psychology, this is from San Jose University, San Jose State University, SANJOSE, San Jose University, California, USA. And it is offering you a diploma, I think, diploma or certificate course in psychology. There are 2 courses, one old one, one revised one, and do the revised one. And there are about 20 chapters, 20 lessons, and the lessons have got run to about 90 minutes or so. And 90 minutes is not like not today like 160-minute lecture or 90-minute lecture. There, if it is 90 minutes lecture, there'll be 90 videos or minimum 60 videos. No video will be more than 1 minute or 1.5 minutes. The maximum length of a video is only 2 minutes. So in 1 minute, they will pick up one topic and then they will give you an idea. And in 2-3 videos, they will give you one full idea. And then they will give you a questionnaire and you need to answer. And then they will tell you whether you are right or wrong. And then 2-3 more videos. So 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, you will have a test. Every 5 minutes, you will be given a feedback. You answer and get a feedback and then you change. Or if you're right, you appreciate yourself and you go on. So I think 20 into 50 will be minimum 1,000 videos. 1,000 1-minute videos to get the diploma in psychology from San Jose University, USA in udacity.com, right? One more interesting thing that I want to tell you about the video is, in the first video itself, 3 people come over. One is a junior girl by name Lauren, who is doing PhD. Another one is a qualified PhD assistant professor who has joined the college and maybe she has put in about 5 years service. And another one, this lady is called Susan. Lauren is a PhD student and Susan is a 5 years old experienced assistant professor in psychology department, San Jose. And the third one is Greg. Greg is about 40 years old. Maybe he has put in 15-20 years experience is HOD psychology, like in San Jose University. These 3 people conduct the classes. They give you 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute videos. Right? In the first video itself, they introduce themselves. And the moment they introduce themselves, Greg picks up a snake, a large snake. And he picks up the snake and he keeps it on his hand and he says, this is one of my pets. Along with my dog, along with my pet, I'm also bringing it up. நான் வீட்டில் வளர்க்கிறேன், பாம்பு வளர்க்கிறேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாரு. And the moment he says, it's my pet animal, immediately Lauren goes into a shock and she's afraid. She goes into palpitations, BP shoots up and she runs away. She goes down and she picks up a car and she goes back home because she cannot remain here in front of the snake. But then Greg is very happy, patting it and cuddling it and all those things. And then Susan says, I will not have this snake as a pet at my home. But then I don't mind touching it. I don't being in the same place. Greg is with the snake. Let Greg keep the snake with him in his hand. I will look at him. Maybe I will touch it, but I will not own it. I will not have it. I will not have it as a pet. So the same situation is given to Greg also, Susan also, Lauren also. Greg reacts in a particular way, Susan reacts in a different way, Lauren acts in a different way. All put together in less than 2 minutes, I tell you. And then Susan goes on to saying that the first area, 3 people reacted differently, meaning individual differences are there. No matter what happens, individuals are different. This comes under personality psychology. And then the behavioral area. One person is so happy keeping it as a pet. One person is neutral, not saying anything. One person is fearful, running away. how does your behavior get affected because of an incident, because of an animal or a snake. It comes under behavioral psychology. And then how one person influences the other person. So this person picked up the snake and that person ran away. Maybe this person wanted that person to run away when it became a social psychology, and the other person was neutral, not responding in any way, but not also running away. So that's also impacting. And some person gets attracted towards the snake. Maybe they'll say, give it to me, I would like to have it. Will you lend it to me for 1 or 2 days? Can I give it egg and milk like? So there is social psychology when something strange happens, when one impacts the other or the other impacts the group. In social psychology, it says the leader can impact the group, like Gandhi can impact the whole of India, or the office can impact you and change you to fit into its social culture, organizational culture. So either way, it is social psychology. And then what happened to Lauren? Her BP went up, her pulse went up, she started sweating, and she was shivering also, and she ran away. This comes under biological psychology. And then the moment Lauren was in shock, Lauren could not take the snake, stomach the snake, could not be in the given situation. If only we took a CAT scan or PET scan or whatever scan here, we'll be able to find out the blood vessels there, the oxygen supply there, chemical supply there, electrical supply there, and what got triggered. Amygdala got triggered. Amygdala said, snake is dangerous, run away. Fight response or flight response. She cannot fight. She took the flight response and she ran away. So this becomes neurological psychology. Giving you one simple incident, giving you one snake, San Jose University manages to tell you what is personality psychology, what is behavioral psychology, what is social psychology, what is biological psychology, what is neurological psychology. So a wonderful course, I strongly recommend. This is only a sample. Go through the 1,000 videos and get the diploma also, right? And coming over, there are some top class psychologists. I'll just give you the names and wherein they have contributed. René Descartes was a person, René Descartes, a French man, René-Descartes, René Descartes. And it was in 1600. He said, cogito ergo sum, meaning I think, therefore I am. If I think I am there, if I don't think I am not there. My existence is totally dependent on my thinking. My thinking makes me who I am. This was said by René Descartes in 1600s, meaning 400 years earlier. And then comes Wilhelm Maximilian Wundt, 1880. He created a scientific lab, a psychology lab, and then he did a lot of experiments. He was the first person to call himself as a psychologist, and he founded the first lab. So that's the reason why people call him as a founder of modern psychology. But then I disagree. For all practical purposes, from my point of view, Freud is the father of modern psychology. I disagree here. But then because he called himself as a psychologist number one, he founded the first experimental lab, psychology lab in 1880. So he is called as Wundt, founder of psychology. And then we come across Gustavo Frickner. Frickner is another person who did a lot of experiments in psychology and gave information to people based on experimental psychology. That's also in 1880. They both put together, they've written some books also, done some experiments also. And then J.B. Watson comes over. J.B. Watson says, give me any child and tell me what do you want this child to be in 20 years' time. I'll make him a lawyer, I'll make him a criminal, I'll make him a doctor, I'll make him an engineer, I'll make him a chartered accountant, I'll make him a sub worker. Whatever you want to tell me, give me 20 years and give me the baby. In 20 years, I can tune the baby and make him accordingly, whichever way you want. So Watson was more in the area of behavior, and he was giving an assurance that he could change people, he could bring up people the way in which we want to bring up children also. Jean Piaget from Switzerland did a lot of work on child development. Mary Ainsworth did a lot of work on strange situations, attachment and bonding. John Bowlby also worked with him, with her. And then Hans Eysenck worked on intelligence and personality and associative conditioning like. Ivan Pavlov, as I told you about, worked with the dogs, classical conditioning. And B.F. Skinner worked on operant conditioning and punishment and reward area. Alfred Adler on birth order. Are you a boy? Are you a girl? Are you a first boy, second boy, first girl, second girl, or the third girl, and are the middle boy, middle girl? So your birth order decides a lot of things because he has had a lot of problem with his elder brother, younger brother like. And then we have Carl Gustav Jung, collective unconscious and archetypes, good old memories like. and was a good friend of Freud. He disagreed with Freud. Adler and Gustavo Jung were working with Freud. They developed the psychoanalysis also. They deferred to the Freud also. They went away from, moved away from him also. They criticized the Freud also, and they were called Neo-Freudian also. But then they contributed a lot. Alfred Adler and Carl Gustav Jung. And Max Wertheimer and Kurt Kafka and Wolfgang Kohler. These three people created a subject called Gestalt psychology. Gestalt is a pattern or a form or a whole, completion, perfection like. So Gestalt psychology, how life can be whole, perfect, complete with all the mistakes and with all the plus points. These three people created the subject Gestalt psychology. Fritz Perls is another person who created a Gestalt therapy. And there's a Gestalt maxim which says, I am I and you are you. I am not born in this world to live up to your expectations. You are not here to live up to my expectations. If by chance we come across each other, it's wonderful. If not, it just cannot be helped. That's called Gestalt maxim. Go through in the internet. And then Albert Bandura. Albert Bandura talks about cognitive behavioral sciences and merges cognition and behavior also put together. And he got educated at Stanford University. He developed a personality psychology, Albert Bandura. And then Milton Erickson, a top-class hypnotherapist, and if you say there is a part in the human body, has had a problem in the body, with the result he was always on the bed, with the result he was always observing people, and he could always 100% exactly predict what the other person will do or will say. So, he became an expert at observing people, wonderful top-class hypnotherapist. He contributed to hypnosis also, he contributed to NLP also. NLP modeled Milton Erickson and created the subject. And then we have Erik Erikson who talked about 8 stages of life, and they again and again get repeated like. And then we have James Lang who worked on James Lang and William Carl Lang. William James and Carl Lang, they are called James Lang. These two people worked on emotions and feelings of human beings, origin of emotion, nature of emotion, application of emotion. And then we have Milgram. Milgram is about obedience to authority. And you people give you power and you punish other people like. And we have Eric Fromm, who moved away from Freud. He called himself as Neo-Freudian. He worked on humanistic psychology. Carl Rogers is another person who worked on humanistic psychology. Martin Seligman worked on positive psychology. Abraham Maslow worked on management, motivation, and hierarchy of needs. Albert Ellis worked on rational emotive behavior therapy, sexology also, but people do not associate him with sexology, but he's an expert in sexology and sexuality. And Aaron T. Beck on behavior therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, and Lawrence Kohlberg on morality, ethical behavior, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross on grievance redressal counseling, and Karen Horney on feminist psychology and neurosis, Wilder Penfield on neuropsychology and neuroscience and what happens, how do we recall delusions and hallucinations and dreams, deja vu, Harry Stack Sullivan on interpersonal relationships and personality and connected both of them. Otto Rank Rosenfeld from Vienna connected existential psychology with Freud. Rollo May, another existential psychologist. Viktor Frankl created logotherapy. And Anna Freud, daughter of Freud, she expanded on psychoanalysis and ego psychology and losing and being lost and all those things. And ultimately we come across Freud. Freud contributed the huge, in the last 2000 years, I tell you, there is nobody who can equal or surpass Freud in any way. Freud was a colossal figure. If somebody finds out one thing and then he gives it to society, we call him a genius. But then Freud has given us minimum 20 different terminologies, and how do they work on us also? He gave all these inputs. I will rapidly go through everything. Ego, superego, subconscious and unconscious, repression and suppression, eros, libido, thanatos, sex, Oedipus complex, electrocomplex, projection, defense mechanism, psychosexual development, dream analysis, Freudian slip, free analysis, transference, countertransference, all these things. So the next week I'll be covering Freud and psychoanalysis 101. So by and large, I think I have given a fairly good introduction to all the contents of psychology and psychologists and where it works, how it works. So my interest is, if you get interested in psychology, I have done my job. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir. நாங்க 5 years படிச்சது நீங்க 1 hourல முடிச்சீங்க சார். எப்படின்னு தெரியல. யூஜி, பிஜி 2ம் கவர் பண்ணீங்க சார்.
I love psychology.
கில்லர் இன்ஸ்டிங்க்ட் சார்.
Questions and interactions.
Participants, you can ask or type in your chat box.
Hello, sir.
Vanga.
Sir, what is that slight variation between subconscious mind and unconscious minds?
Initially, they called it as unconscious mind by Freud. Later, we found out that if you say somebody met with an accident and he became unconscious, meaning he lost all his senses. But then subconscious is 80% or 4 times more powerful than the conscious. We normally say we live our life based on 20% based on conscious and 80% based on subconscious mind. So subconscious mind is 4 times more powerful than conscious, and it is running your life, running my life. But then when we say unconscious mind, it means we lost all our senses and 0%. It is not 0%, it is 80%. So both the terminologies are transferable or interchangeable like. Earlier we called it as unconscious mind, nowadays we call it as subconscious mind. Others?
What are the portions covered in the applied psychology, sir?
See, almost all the subjects are in applied area. There are, I'll give you differently. There's a topic called science and technology. The job of science is to give you an information or a theorem or a formula or a performance or something. Technology is making use of the science, applying it to the organization or the industry or the society, and then making it useful to people. Science gives you something, technology gives it to the people. Similarly, psychology gives you all the information. The moment you start applying it to people, then it becomes applied psychology. All therapies and counselings are applied psychology. If I talk about motivation and then you motivate yourself, it becomes applied psychology. If I tell you something about emotion and you start applying it, it becomes applied. So any theoretical information is in general psychology. Anytime you make use of it and for your benefit or for the benefit of other people or the benefit of the counseling, then it becomes applied psychology. Other than that, there could be a technical definition which I do not know.
Thank you, sir.
And the beauty of psychology is almost all of them are applicable every day in day-to-day living. Your life, my life. Others?
Sir, good evening. I am Chitra from Tirupur. Already I know only the mental psychology. Today you explained a lot of psychology streams. Now I am very interested to study the psychological forum.
I have passed my examination.
Yeah. You are wonderfully explained each and every one, sir. Very flow speech.
Very good.
I enjoyed your session. Few session I missed yours.
So
Further,
take
I
my
won't
phone
miss
number,
any of
write to me.
your session.
I have some recordings of some of my programs, and if
Okay,
you write to me, contact me through WhatsApp, I'll be able to send you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Can I share your number in chat box?
Just somebody write it out, I'll be answering questions. Dr.
Okay.
Salim,
Chitra ma'am.
Yes, sir. I will,
Salim
sir.
sir will share.
Thank you,
Yeah.
doctor. Others? Others?
Sir, this is Satya.
Satya,
Can
one.
you please tell me some of the books related to theories in psychology?
I can show you
Theories,
some of the
specifically
books I have.
theories.
No, I love books and I collect books and sometimes I show books to other people so that they get motivated to buy the books. Right? This is Psychology for Dummies. I think it costs around rupees, available in India. 400 rupees.
Okay.
And this is called Idiot's Guide to Psychology. Meaning they are very simple books.
Okay.
And this one is Wayne Waiton. Psychology by Wayne Waiton. It's an international standard text. And this one, Understanding Psychology by Robert Feldman.
Robert?
Feldman, F-E-L-D-M-A-N.
Okay.
And this is Jeffrey Nevid. Jeffrey
Okay.
Nevid, N-E-V-I-D.
Okay, sir.
And this is Samuel Wood, World of Psychology.
Okay.
Samuel Wood.
Wood. Okay.
Again, this one is Gazzaniga, Michael Gazzaniga Psychology. It's a famous author.
Michael Gazzaniga. Okay.
And this is Rod Plotnick. P-L-O-T,
Oh, wow.
Rod Plotnick.
Okay. Okay.
This is another famous book, David Myers. I think about
Okay.
20 editions have come by.
Okay.
And a lot more, 50 more are there in that shelf.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine. This is enough.
All of them
now.
are international
Thank you.
university textbook.
Okay,
Written by
sir. Thank you
university
so much.
professors. All these books are written by
Uh-huh.
university professors.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And the Idiot's Guide and Dummies are available in India. You can collect them through Amazon.in or Flipkart.in.
Okay, sir.
Others?
Thank you very much.
So somebody is asking what book for subconscious mind to read.
Normally, the people read Joseph Murphy. It's available in Tamil also, English also. And one more book, my book is not available. And it sold 12,000 copies in 10 editions, and Kannadasan Padivam stopped publishing it anymore. And 10 editions went by, 12,000 copies sold. It's called Powers of the Subconscious Mind and Hypnosis. There are given lots of examples and explained about them. I'll give a lecture on subconscious mind here.
Mr. Mutaya, two questions. I'll ask it crisply. So first question is, how do you see psychology growing in the next 10 years, or 20 years in India? So the second question is, how do you zero in on books? There are lots of books. How do you zero in on books? Your perspective, please.
How is your?
How do you zero in on books? There are many books, right? So how do you zero in on books? Your perspective.
To answer the second question first, this is, I'm third generation librarian. My father had a library. My grandfather had a library in the village, about 14 kilometers from Karaikudi. Karaikudi is a town. My grandfather was living in a place called Aravile near Devagota, 14 kilometers from Karaikudi. He had a huge collection of library. My daddy was brought up in a library situation. I was brought up in a library situation. I brought up my children in a library situation. My son and daughter-in-law have got a huge library also. That's the fourth generation. So automatically it is there. If you come home, the chair will not be available for you. We need to take few books from the chair and ask you to sit there. That's the way in which we were brought up. So whatever comes there, anytime you give me 10 rupees or 100 rupees, I'll buy a book. First thing that I do is to buy a book. Right? So what was the other question earlier? What? Indian context. Indian context, I do not know much. Okay. But then internationally, psychology is growing leaps and bounds. Even in the corona times, everyone has got a problem, or everyone has seen someone dying either in the family or a friend or a relative or whoever, nearby neighbor, somebody. No one can say, none of my friends, none of my relatives died in corona. No way. And everyone is impacted by some emotion, and psychology helps you in those areas. And psychology is growing a lot internationally. I do not know much about Indian context. And to my knowledge, cyber psychology, one more thing which I forgot to tell you. Cyber psychology is all about crimes, along with foreign psychology, investigating how a crime happens in the with intelligent people like. And in that context, I'm saying our Robert Barron psychologist, that's another one. Robert Barron, and he, along with some Mishra here in India, he wrote a book. And the Indian context book, whatever is written about India, I am not quite comfortable with it. I do not know how Barron agreed to it. Robert Barron, and 1 minute, I'll bring the book here.
Dr. Garishwar Mishra. One name.
Indian Subcontinent Edition. Robert Barron wrote this book along with Girishwar Mishra. Wherever India appears, the information is not okay. I read through the book. I'm quite uncomfortable with the way Mishra has written about Indian psychology. I'm not comfortable with it. Right? So I do not know much about India, how it goes about. and we have not updated IT, the impact of computers on human beings, it is not a subject in MSc Psychology, I believe, in most of the universities. Am I right? I am not currently in touch with people. Can anyone tell me? Have they included the impact of IT sector, social media on human beings' lives?
No,
Sir,
sir.
computer.
No, sir.
Professor Garishwar,
No, sir.
Professor Garishwar Mishra was in Delhi University. I am his student, and he
Little
is a
louder,
pioneer.
ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Ramana, ma'am, your voice is very low, ma'am. Can you increase your volume?
Uh, is it
Yeah, I
audible?
understand you are a student.
Okay, sir. Yes, I'm Professor Girishwar Mishra's student, and we studied under him in Delhi University way back in 2002, and then he became the chancellor of one of the Wardha University, and he is actually a pioneer and his specialization is cultural and social psychology, and he's worked a lot on poverty, and Kenneth Gergen and people like Durkheim, I mean people who are known for their work in cultural and social psychology is where Professor Girishwar Mishra names comes upon. And being a student from Delhi University, I've also know that this book he wrote in for NCRT books, the CBSE curriculum, the curriculum which was changed somewhere in around 2003-4. He along with few other professors from Delhi University, wrote this book. And being coming from Delhi University, I realized that many of my professors were geniuses. They were doing extremely well, and they were very, very popular, even in the international forum. Um, in their specialized fields, like we learned about psychoanalytical psychotherapy, that it started way in Calcutta in 1700s, 1800 something, where people, somebody called Gurinder Shekhar Bose way back then gifted a book, gifted Vishnu, a statue of Vishnu to Freud, and he's written a book on Freud on the Vishnu on the desk of Freud. So the exchange of letters between Freud.
Shabnam, I
Yes, sir.
understand that he is a
Sir.
great guy and you like him. He is your
Sir.
teacher. He has contributed a lot.
Sir.
I am not questioning all those things. I confine
Sir.
myself to this book, and I disagree with some of the contents in this book. And there are a lot of grammar mistakes, lot of English mistakes, lot of
Perhaps,
spelling mistakes, which should not have happened in an international
Baron
setting.
and Byrne was the book that they took, and then I think from that they started working on the Indian book. So the CBSE books which were revamped somewhere in 2003.
Shabnam, I am not an expert on Mishra. I am confining myself to the contents of this book. Similarly, I also disagree with another great psychologist in India by name Sudhir Kakkar. I don't agree with his ideas. I read through Sudhir Kakkar. I disagree with him in very many places. As an individual, I disagree. I am not saying they are bad. I am saying based on the book, based on the writing, my comment remains. They could be, as an individual, they could have contributed a lot to the society. My salutes to them, my appreciations, my congratulations, and my recognitions. I am not talking anything about the personality or the contribution. I am confining only to this book. This book. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thanks for
Thank you for your session, sir. It was very enlightening, and just wanted to share my views on this thing. Sudhir Kakkar's work. He's a psychoanalyst. He was not from psychology background. He worked closely with Erik Erikson, and he's one name in the field. Anyways, thank you so much for the session. Thank you everyone for listening. Also, thank you.
Thank you. Others வாங்க.
முத்தையா சார், நான் சப்கான்ஷியஸ் மைண்ட் புக் நான் காட்டலாமா வீடியோல இப்போ?
காட்டுங்க.
ஜோசப் மர்ஃபீஸ்.
தமிழ்ல இருக்கு, இங்கிலீஷ்ல இருக்கு.
நான் இங்கிலீஷ்ல தான் வச்சிருக்கேங்க சார்.
காட்டுங்க.
தெரியறதா?
இல்ல, சித்ராராமன் தெரியுது.
ஓ, வீடியோ ஸ்டார்ட் மை வீடியோ. ஓ, எப்படி காட்டுறதுன்னு தெரியல பாருங்க சார்.
வரலே. சரி, people know that 20-30 years அது இதுதான் லீடிங் நம்பர் 1 புக். ஆமா, இப்போ உங்க முகம் தெரியுது.
இப்ப இதை நான் புஸ்தகமும் காட்டுறேன்.
அதான் Powers of the Subconscious Mind.
ஜோசப் மர்ஃபீஸ்.
ஆமா, இன்டர்நேஷனலி பெஸ்ட் செல்லர், மில்லியன்ஸ்ல வித்திருக்குது, நாட் ஈவன் லாக்ஸ், மில்லியன்ஸ்.
few months back தான் நான் இந்த புக்க கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா படிச்சேன் சார். I was wondered.
இதே புக் தமிழ்ல டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் அவைலபிள் and people can buy that. Thank you Chitra.
Okay sir, thank you.
Welcome.
So much.
Others.
Hello sir.
வாங்க.
I'm Mary Florence from Bangalore. Morning I called you now sir.
Welcome. வாங்க சொல்லுங்க. What did you
sir,
get? How do you feel?
Sir, you made me feel that as if I finished MPhil in Nimans, like that. So much information I couldn't take. Very informative. Too much knowledge, sir. Like as if we finished a course.
அதான் intro
I don't think I would have got
covering everything in a nutshell.
I don't think I would have got such information in Nimans also. You're really wonderful, very informative, sir, and very knowledgeable, very humble person, sir.
Welcome.
My congrats to you, sir.
Welcome.
All the best for your future, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mary. Others?
Sir, awesome session. சூப்பரா இருந்துச்சு. எல்லாமே கவர் பண்ணிட்டீங்க, எதையுமே மிஸ் பண்ணல. எல்லாமே ஓவராலா ஃபுல்லா வந்துச்சு சார். இந்த நிறைய புக்ஸ் சொன்னப்ப எம்எஸ் யூனிவர்சிட்டியில கூட அவங்க எம்எஸ் யூனிவர்சிட்டியில கன்சாலிடேட் பண்ணி கூட புக்ஸ் போடுறாங்க சார். ஈவன் தட் இஸ் எல்லாம் கவர் பண்ணி கட் ஷார்ட் பண்ணி இருக்கு, அதுவும் நல்லா இருக்கு சார்.
வெரி குட்.
And your information is awesome. உங்க நேம் பார்த்தாலே I'm coming to attend the sessions without fail. Thank you, so great work.
So the compilation details என்ன கொடுக்குறீங்களா? எல்லாத்தையும் கம்பைல் பண்ணி போடுறாங்க யூனிவர்சிட்டி சொன்னீங்கல்ல, அந்த டீடைல்ஸ் எனக்கு வாட்ஸ்அப்ல போட்டு விடுங்களேன்.
சரி, நான் அந்த டவுன்லோட் பண்ணி அனுப்பிச்சு விடுறேன் உங்களுக்கு.
சரி, ஓகே. எனக்கு எங்கயாவது புக்ல ஏதாவது கண்டென்ட் இருக்கும்னா நான் உடனே அதை கண்டுபிடிச்சிருவேன். எனக்கு யாராவது ரெக்கமெண்ட் பண்ணா வாங்கிடுவேன்.
இது நீங்க சொன்னது எல்லாமே இருக்கு சார். எவ்ரிதிங் இஸ் தேர். கன்சாலிடேட்டட் இட் இஸ் லுக்கிங்.
கொடுங்க எனக்கு கொடுங்க. நான் சாஃப்ட் காப்பியால வாங்கிக்கிறேன், இல்ல விலைக்கு வேணாலும் நான் வாங்கிக்கிறேன்.
இல்ல சார், சைட்லயே இருக்கும், நான் டவுன்லோட் பண்ணி தரேன். If not, I'll send some of mine.
Thanks, Yasmin.
Okay, sir. Awesome session, sir. ஒரே ஒரு question I would like to ask. இப்போ நிறைய சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட் இருக்காங்க. What of the opportunities அவ்வளவு தூரம் வந்துச்சா சார் இந்தியால? அல்லனா அவங்க ப்ரொஃபைல இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் எப்படி பில்ட் பண்ணிக்கலாம்?
இப்போ as I told you, in every office there are managers, and every office there will be a time, maybe 10 years, 20 years, there will be a time when every office will have psychologists to counsel people. Maximum divorce case, maximum heart problem, cardiovascular problem கேட்டீங்கன்னா IT டிபார்ட்மெண்ட். அந்த 30-35 இயர்ஸ்ல டிவோர்ஸ் வேணும் கேட்கறாங்க, இல்ல 30-35 ஹார்ட் ப்ராப்ளம்ல டாக்டர் கிட்ட போனாலும் சரி, அந்த லாயரோ டாக்டரோ கேட்கிற முதல் கேள்வி, ஆர் யூ ஃப்ரம் தி ஐடி செக்டார்? அவன் எஸ்ன்னு சொன்னா, வி அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் தட் யூ ஹேவ் அ ஹார்ட் ப்ராப்ளம், வி அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் வி ஹேவ் அ ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் ப்ராப்ளம். ஏன்னா அது அங்க உள்ள சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட் கிடையாது. இந்த ஐடி டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்ல இவ்வளவு காசு கொடுக்குறவன் இப்போ ஃப்ளோருக்கு 4 சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட் வச்சிருந்தாங்கன்னா அங்கேயே சார்ட் அவுட் பண்ணியிருந்திருக்கலாம். அதை பண்ணாம இருக்கிறதுனால தான் internationally IT sector is making a lot of money. Youngsters, very intelligent people, logical left brain people, they are making a lot of money. They have a lot of name and fame. They are doing a lot of good work in the office, but people are not able to get along well with people. One, people are not able to take care of their body physically and emotionally. Moon. So in that context, namak neriya psychologists தேவைப்படுறாங்க. With Corona also, people get to understand psychologists are a need of the other, or the need of the hour. So gradually it will improve. We need psychologists. இன்னொரு point, controversial area. If only we have lot of psychologists, thousands and thousands of psychologists, there won't be any Swamijis in India. இவ்வளவு சுவாமிஜி ப்ராப்ளத்துக்கு ஏன் காரணம்னா அங்க ஒரு சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட் கிடைக்கல. people go to Swamiji. And the Swamiji naturally cheats it.
Okay, sir.
சுவாமிஜியை நம்மளால ஒழிக்க முடியாது. பட் சுவாமிஜியை ஒழிக்கணும்னா சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட உருவாக்கணும். சயின்டிபிக்கா நம்ம கவுன்சிலிங் கொடுத்தோம்னா people will not find the need to go to Swamijis. No Swamiji comes and knocks at your door saying, I will solve your problem. Almost all of us went to the Swamiji and Swamiji exploited us. If there was a psychologist in your road, you would not have gone to the Swamiji, you would have gone to the psychologist.
Very true, sir. After studying psychology, for sure, it has changed my life a lot.
Welcome.
That's for sure. So it should happen for everyone. நம்ம profile இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் எப்படி sir build பண்ணலாம்? If I'm asking for
phone அடிங்களே நம்ம பேசுவோம்.
I just wanted to share this for everyone. அதனால கேட்டேன் sir.
இப்போ எனக்கு உள்ளுக்குள்ள எனக்கு டாபிக் ரொம்ப தெரியாது. இது சைக்காலஜி என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னா academically qualified people or people working in psychology field, they could help you. நான் பேசிக்கலி ஐம் சைக்காலஜி படிச்சிருக்கிறேனே தவிர மை ஃபீல்ட் வெரி மெனி திங்ஸ். ஐ மீன் NLP, TA, and I'm in psychology and hypnosis, and I'm in training also.
Okay,
so நிறைய ஸ்கேட்டர் ஆயிருது. I will not be able to give the answer that you are asking for.
You're so humble, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge, Baba.
Welcome. Manishankar, you wanted to say something? Manishankar?
Sir, chat boxல question இருக்கு. What is the difference between applied and clinical psychology? From pages.
நீங்க qualified people சொல்லுங்க தெரியாதுப்பா. All psychology is applied psychology from my point of view. Applied psychology இன்னொரு டாபிக் என்ன சொல்றாங்க?
Applied psychology and clinical psychology, sir.
Motivation is applied for normal people. Clinical psychology and everything, there is a deficit, there is a problem, there is an issue, there is something not okay, and people would like to change that. On the area, the clinical psychology, therapeutic psychology, counseling psychology, all these things will come in. Motivation or emotion, you don't have to have a problem to study psychology. General psychology is about well-being. Normal people, they use psychology. But problematic area, clinical psychology. Medicine, everything, doctor has got nothing to do with happiness. Doctor has got nothing to do with health. Doctor doesn't know anything about thought or feeling. There's no chapter. Don't blame the MBBS doctor. It's not in the syllabus. Happiness is not there. Health is not there. Thought is not there. Emotion is not there. Well-being is not there. But then people think in order to become better, healthy, I go to doctor. Doctor did not study. Doctor knows only problems. Doctor is always below the line. But then psychology works in the positive line area also, in psychological issues also. That's the beauty of psychology. Normal people can use psychology, and people with problems can use psychology. It has got both applications, problem solving also, goal achieving also. MBBS totally about problem solving, nothing to do with goal, nothing to do with health, nothing to do with progress, nothing to do with happiness.
Then one more question is this: what is parapsychology? Is that also a branch of psychology?
Another question. Parapsychology meaning it looks like psychology but not psychology. It is not psychology. It looks like psychology. And all the people who are working in the area called all the people working along with the doctor are called paramedical staff. They are not medical staff. They are not doctors. There could be nurses, there could be technicians and all those. Are you with me? But then they are called paramedical staff. They work along with the doctor, but they are not doctors. They are called medical para meaning outside. Para meaning nearby. Para is something which is modeling or mimicking, but not exactly the same. So parapsychology is something which doesn't come under scientific psychology, meaning extrasensory perception, psychic phenomena, or you being able to talk with somebody, or distance healing. All these things do not come under science, do not come under proper scientific psychology. And these are all called parapsychology. And parapsychology is not, you cannot publish any article on parapsychology in any leading psychology journals in the world. American Psychological Association does not recognize parapsychology to my knowledge. Only psychology, meaning MSc psychology, MPhil psychology, PhD psychology. If you have a PhD psychology, then you are called a psychologist. Mere MSc psychology doesn't qualify as a psychologist from the point of view of American Psychological Association. So parapsychology is somebody saying, I can talk to somebody in USA, I can talk to somebody in USA on Amavasya day or Paurnami day, I can talk to this person alone on Paurnami day, and something came in my dream and it worked and really happened. All these things are parapsychology. They are not scientifically proven, they cannot be taught, they cannot be educated, they cannot be applied, they cannot be transferred from one person to another person. That's called parapsychology.
Thank you, sir. Then from Saujanya, can you please let us know the course name from San Jose University and Udacity?
San JOSC is called Jose, HOSC. That's Mexican Spanish pronunciation. SAN San JOSC, San Jose University. San Jose State University they call, and the educational platform name is Udacity, UDACITY. Udacity.com. Go there, register your name, and have a username, and then your mail ID, and then a password. Go inside and then access psychology. There'll be 2 psychology courses, one revised from the earlier one. Go to the revised course and join the course and go through all the videos. There are about 1,000 videos, 20 lessons, 20 into 50,000 videos. All videos are 1 minute duration. Wonderful. And get that.
Thank you, sir. Then from Anita Ramachandran, is there a field like military psychology, pain psychology?
Pain is always there. Our body has got anesthesia all by itself. Supposing I am driving a motorcycle and I am hitting against a bus, and then I am thrown off. When I am thrown off, I faint, meaning that was the best way to save me. Otherwise, if I was in pain and the hand was broken and the blood was going out, I will die soon. So if the hand is broken and blood is going out, I shall remain stationary so that somebody else will take care of me. Meaning anesthesia is already there inside. And the moment my unconscious mind understood that it is too much of a pain, you can't bear it, my unconscious mind secreted the anesthesia and made me faint or swoon, and I don't feel any pain anymore. My body is stationary, and people who look at me, they take me to the hospital and then they'll save me. So anesthesia is already there. All that the doctors do in surgery is modeling, mimicking the anesthesia that is already there in your body, which is inoperative. Only when it is needed, it will come, it will secrete, otherwise it will not secrete. So with that, people got to know that during accident, if somebody is fainting, this is because of the reason, and they found out anesthesia, and they deliberately, consciously gave the anesthesia and make the person do surgery on the person. So it's only taking this to that area, right? So what was the original question? What was he missing? And the kelvi enna?
Just a minute, sir. Is there a field like military psychology, pain psychology?
Pain psychology. The pain is always there. Using hypnotherapy in 20 minutes, pain can be reduced or pain can be made bearable. One of the best ways to reduce pain is psychology. Differently, again, another psychology is the baby falls down. Slight bruise in the knee. Kaalla muttila adipattichu. Baby comes to mommy crying, mommy, leg broke. Kaal odela. Mommy knows it. Mommy, instead of looking at the bruise, mommy will pick up a doll and tell the baby, jingle, jingle, jingle. Immediately the pain is gone. Once when the attention is drawn to someplace else, that pain goes away. This is simple psychology. All mummies know it. All mummies use it. They do not know that they are using psychology. So pain is manageable. Military psychology is something which is there, which normally the people do not teach you. But in the First World War and the Second World War also, who allies with who is double agent, who is a triple agent, who gave information to which country, how did they bring in the Kalad Padai or military soldiers, and then how did the submarine came by or the ships came by, how the Air Force operated. All these things are in military psychology. Unless you know your enemy's psychology, you will not be able to win the enemy. So military psychology is a very, very important subject, but it will not be taught in normal schools, normal colleges. That's a secretive area. You need to be treated differently.
Thank you, sir. From they did not mention name. 2035. What are opportunity in government sector?
I don't know. Academically qualified people who give placement, those are the people to be asked. I am a freelancer. Sorry, not my subject. I don't know. Ask some professor. They are the ones who are helping the students to get employment or placement. Best thing to do is to enter any college, go to the psychology department, get hold of a psychology teacher, ask them what is the scope. They will tell you, because they are in the field. Their job is to educate these people, become psychologists and get them employment. They are the qualified people. And somebody wrote
Group also they are doing, sir. Tamil Nadu Career Counselors and Association. I think they will clarify this.
6:30 they have a meeting like so. 6:37. You can contact them. Yeah, Brian Weiss and ஒரு ஆளை பத்தி எழுதிருக்காங்க. He's a psychiatrist, and being a psychiatrist, he could make only so much money. So he wrote a book saying many lives and many things, and about hypnotherapy taking you to past life. And had he continued as a psychiatrist, he would have made only $10,000. By writing this book, he made money in millions. So no other psychiatrist agrees with Dr. Brian Weiss. That's just a good story. No use value. I disagree with all the contents, totally 100%. I disagree with Brian Weiss. I have the book. I disagree. This man knows fully well that what he is writing, and he wrote the book to make money. No other psychiatrist has agreed with this book. Don't say the book sells millions. Don't say everybody bought it. Don't say I read it. Don't say it looks good. Tell me how many psychiatrists have agreed with this psychiatrist about past life. American Psychological Association, American Psychiatric Association, American Medical Association do not recognize past life. போன ஜென்மம், முந்தின ஜென்மத்தில் நான் அப்படி இருந்தேன் அப்படிங்கிறது ஒரு ஏபிஏஓ இல்லையா, ஏபிஏ Psychological Association, American Psychological Association, Psychiatric Association, they don't recognize it. They don't recognize Brian Weiss also. Not scientific. Others.
Thank you, sir. From Shivakumar, can you elaborate on how Western psychology concept is applicable to Indian condition?
By and large, it is applicable. Corona மருந்து யார் கண்டுபிடிச்சா? Somebody from the West, they found out. They only gave us. Almost 99% of the allopathy treatment MBBS textbooks are from Western countries only. And we are using only allopathy. That's the only recognized subject for cure. நீங்க ஆயுர்வேதிக், பாட்டி வைத்தியம், கை வைத்தியம், தமிழ் வைத்தியம் சொல்லலாம். But recognized treatment சொன்னீங்கன்னா allopathy only. And in that context, I say 99% of allopathy is from Western countries only, and they are applicable. Eastern country வேணும்னா நீங்க பாட்டு தனியா படிச்சுக்கோங்க, அவ்வளவுதான். You cannot make allopathy agree with our therapy. Our therapy is a different school. MBBS syllabus is different. MBBS will not copy our subject and make it as its syllabus. You got to talk to the universities. You got to prove it. You got to write a lot of articles in the journals, accepted leading journals, medical journals. Then only it will work. Till such time it doesn't. நாம் வேணா கிளைம் பண்ணிக்கலாம், இங்கிலீஷ் மருத்துவத்தை விட நான் எங்க மருத்துவம் ஆயுர்வேதம் பெட்டர், சித்த மருத்துவம் பெட்டர், என்ன கை வைத்தியம் பெட்டர், மூலிகை வைத்தியம் பெட்டர், என்ன வேணா கிளைம் பண்ணலாம். But you need to publish articles, journals and prove it. Unless proven, they will not accept it. Anything else?
வணக்கம் சார். ஆஸ் யூஷுவல் உங்கள் செஷன் ரொம்ப எக்ஸலண்ட்டு. உங்கள் ஐடியா இந்த ஐடி கம்பெனியில் வந்து ஒரு சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட் அப்பாயின்ட் பண்ணுறது ஒரு நல்ல சஜஷன். ஏன்னா நிறைய ரெசிக்னேஷன், நிறைய ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் ப்ராப்ளம், அட்லீஸ்ட் முதல்ல இப்போ ஸ்கூல்லலாம் சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட் இருக்க மாதிரி எங்கள் ஐடி கம்பெனியில் அப்பாயின்ட் பண்ணாங்கன்னு நல்லாயிருக்கும். ஆனால் இதை கொஞ்சம் சீரியஸாகவே கொண்டு போனோம். அப்புறம் ரெண்டாவது உங்கள் கமெண்ட், ஐ டோன்ட் நோ ஐ எம் டிரைவிங், ஐ டோன்ட் நோ ஐ எம் ஸ்பீக்கிங், அது வந்து ஒரு விசில் மாதிரி இருந்தது. ஒரு 4-5 இது நீங்கள் கோர்வையாக பேசுனது. விசில் பேசுவார் இல்லையா, ஐ டோன்ட் நோ ஐ எம் டிரைவிங், ஐ டோன்ட் நோ ஐ எம் ஸ்பீக்கிங் அப்படின்னு ஒரு 4-5 இது தொடர்ச்சியாக சொன்னீங்க.
முதல்ல ஒரு சமாச்சாரம் இருந்ததுன்னு தெரியாது உங்களுக்கு. ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் தண்ணி தெரியாது, நீங்க பார்க்கல. குழந்தை 2 வயசா இருக்கிறப்ப அப்பா கூப்பிட்டு போனாங்க. ஓஹோ குளம் ஒன்று இருக்குது, ஒரு ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் இருக்குது அப்படின்னு தெரியும். முதல்ல வந்து ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் தெரியாது, உங்களுக்கு தெரியாது. இப்போ ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் பார்த்தீங்க, ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் இருக்குது, நீந்த தெரியாதுன்னு கண்டுபிடிச்சிங்க. 2வது ஸ்டேஜ். 3வது ஸ்டேஜ் கோச் கிட்ட போனீங்க, ஸ்விம்மிங் கத்துக்கிட்டீங்க. ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் இருக்குது, நீந்த தெரியும்னு கத்துக்கிட்டீங்க. இப்போ ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் பார்த்த உடனே டமால்னு ஜம்ப் பண்ணிடுறீங்க, எப்படி ஸ்விம் பண்றீங்கன்னு தெரியாது. சரியா? நான் சொல்றது வந்து சயின்ஸ்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
விசுவை போட்டு என் கூட குழப்பாதீங்க. விசுங்கிற பேரோட என்ன சேர்க்காதீங்க. I don't want to be connected with that.
குழப்பறது இல்லை, அதே மாதிரி தொடர்ச்சியா வந்ததுன்னு சொல்ல வந்தேன் நான்.
சரி,
ஓகே ஓகே. தேங்க்யூ சார், ஆல் தி வெரி பெஸ்ட் சார்.
Anything else? I think ரொம்ப நேரம் ஓடிச்சுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். Sunala, shall we close?
Sir.
So I enjoyed being with you all. Whoever wants to contact me, take my number 93810-34310. 93810-34310. Reach me through WhatsApp or call me, and we will talk further if you need anything extra or anything in person. Right? Thank you very much. Bye bye. Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you, sir. Thank you, sir. Leader can impact group. That you proved today. Kindly accept our gratitude on behalf of American College Madurai, MS Challamuthu Institute Madurai, Madras School of Social Work Chennai, Red Pond Educational Research Center, and Yellow Pond Counseling Center. Thank you, participants. Yet another new session tomorrow we will meet. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, sir.